A popular saying is, nothing I ever lost on the internet, but what is something you have been searching for years and you haven't found it yet? Around 10 years ago I was using StumbleUpon and found a website outlining a mysterious EXP. The night that Tony Hawk did the first 900 back at the 99X Games. They played a music video-like thing with Feeder's The Perfect Day showing all his misses and then finally the hit. It basically doesn't exist and it bothers me. A quote from a book, maybe Lundy Bancroft, about how to get a friend out of an abusive relationship. I want the original source. I believe it was in a Q&A format that ran a bit like this in ideas, but not phrasing. Q. My friend is in an abusive relationship, but she won't allow us to help her leave it. How do we safely get her out? A. You don't. You need to offer her the opposite of what her abuse is. Choices. Allow her to socialize with whom she wishes, even her abuser, because he's probably isolating her. Forgive her for being flaky, because he may not be. Allow her to choose for herself even if you disagree with the choice, because that's the opposite of what he's doing. She has to decide to leave by herself. This old French website that hosted these pixel clip art versions of Disney characters. Because the outlines were single pixels wide and there was no compression, Little Me could save them and recolor. Or an Antique Roadshow episode where the appraiser asked the owner if they had cleaned a priceless Milanese helm. They responded, I hit it with a Lil Lemon pledge, and the appraiser visibly shivers. There was a quote that I read on the title of a post that went something like, just because you've gone down 90% doesn't mean you can't go down another 90%. It's related to the stock market and can also apply to life. I've wanted to find out who said that for the longest. What color is Gruglin gray? Grandfather always talked about painting his house Gruglin gray, but I can find no reference for it. That song I can kinda hum, but only know one word to. And to Google asterisk song lyrics plus love asterisk would clearly be ridiculous. An electronic copy of the Machine Gun Dealer's Bible, which I bet a co-worker years ago I could find, in an effort to prevent myself from owing him $5. I am still looking for it. In 2003, there was a commercial for I Think E-Trade where a CEO retires and hands the company over to his stoner bro grandson, whose entire press conference is him saying, I'm so stoked. Everyone dumps the stock immediately, and the ad was about how quickly you could trade using E-Trade. My family loved that commercial to the point where we had shirts made that said, I'm so stoked. I have looked through a lot of commercial compilations in YouTube, but have still never found that ad. Around 1999 I had borrowed a digital camera from school and took a lot of pictures of friends and stuff. It was back when people really didn't carry around cameras except for special activities. I remember uploading them to my brother's University Unix shell account to share with some people. But when he graduated and that account closed, I lost access and didn't have any backups. Really wish I still had those photos. Nobody has them. I tried to find the browser games I played when I was a kid. Some of them no longer exist. https lostmediawiki.com/postopia_ partially _found _online _games _2001 to 2011. I spent about 10 years searching for a woman I went to university with. I lived with her for 2 years and we were good friends. She was just not too hot at being contactable, like the sort of person who loses their phone every few months, so just gets a new one with a new number. Anyway, she had zero web presence, so it was practically impossible to track down. But I figured maybe one day she would make herself known. Well, one day she did. Turns out she got married and had a young kid, and lived about 3 hours away. We spoke on Facebook for quite a while, and I thought I'd see if she wanted to meet up sometime. And then she died. It turns out she just made a Facebook profile to contact her old friends one last time and see how they were doing. She never even told me she was ill. Sometimes she pops up in my dreams and we have a chat there. All the shitty Fruity Loops music I made in my early 20s that was on MySpace. There was this game on Windows 3.1 similar to the board game, Life. You allocated time each day to studies, work, and rec in order not to end up a bum on the street or dead. This video I think I found on Vimeo of these guys working at a bong shipping facility. Apparently a customer requested a video of the process of putting together their new order for shipping. These two guys put together a great video with him dancing to Maniac by Michael Cimbello. Throughout it, I love anyone who can find what I'm talking about. Where the quote "greater than I wanted 16 candles Molly Ringwald, not Pretty in Pink Molly Ringwald," comes from. An American, I think, movie I saw as a kid about a girl in the country and her cousin, a guy that was in a wheelchair that refused to go out. 90s, maybe 80s. Lots of golden hour scenes and bright photography. Edit. It was primo baby. Thank you informal wish. A Reddit comment about a person who didn't know they had schizophrenia until they moved. When they lived in their apartment they had a noisy neighbor, a radio that kept playing in another unit, and could hear their upstairs neighbor constantly walking across the floor. But then they moved to a standalone house and they could still hear all the noises from the apartment. I remember the phrase "insidious schizophrenia" in there somewhere. Very haunting and well written, but I haven't been able to find it again. All through school they taught us you can never truly delete anything online, and even if you delete it, someone can still find it. While this may be true if you seriously pissed off a master computer hacker, but for the average person this claim is completely BS. I went on a few dates with a girl a few summers ago and I really liked her. All of a sudden though she just vanished. Like her Snapchat was deactivated. Completely disappeared off Facebook, Instagram, everything. I tried texting her a couple of times but she never responded. I got a little worried because she's not the type of girl to ghost like that, and she struggles with suicidal thoughts and mental health issues, so you can see why this might be concerning. Since she wasn't responding and I didn't really know any of her friends to ask about her, I went full social media creep mode to try and at least find out what happened to her. I figured if she had killed herself there would be something online about it. Well, I didn't find anything. Like literally no evidence that this girl even existed besides a picture of her on her brother's Facebook page. I didn't even know she had a brother. He was just the only person that came up if you searched her name on Facebook. Googling her name also yielded no results. Since I could literally find nothing about her online, I figured she had just blocked me for some reason and I eventually gave up. I tried searching her on Facebook a couple times over the next year or so, but nothing ever came up. This past summer she popped up in my Snapchat friend suggestions, and honestly it was such a relief to finally see some evidence that she was alive. I added her not expecting her to add me back, but she did, and she actually messaged me. We met up again and went for a hike and grabbed dinner together to catch up. Turns out she was going through some rough times and didn't want to talk to anyone and disappeared. But she's doing much better now. Things didn't work out with us romantically again, but she's still one of my closest friends now. Around 12 to 13 years ago, I got into StumbleUpon, which was a Firefox extension that adds a button to your screen that takes you to a random page that someone marked as interesting. Once, I found a flash animation that portrayed a recreation of a white hat hacker doing a penetration test on a web application. The whole thing was a Linux command shell without any GUI. It started with an IRC chat where someone asks the hacker to look into his application and sent him a URL and another URL for the source code. After a sped-up 3 minutes of curl, grep, and SSH, the hacker built a command-line script that can pull any username and email from the site. Never found it again. Thanks, you, Zalmiak, for finding the video. It's called Zero Day. https www.youtube.com/watch v equals qb8 to 0zgie7a by milw0 room asterisk Patinator asterisk. It would take any web page and change it to seem like Mr. T had written it. It was so funny to do it to news sites like CNN. My grandpa used to have this screensaver idle screen on his computer that was a little painter, window washy guy who goes around the screen cleaning, painting. As a kid I'd watch it for hours. Thought it was super relaxing. Pretty sure it was light blue. And the little guy was wearing all white. Not sure on any other details. During some in-depth discussion on the Lord of the Rings lore, the conversation turned somewhere deep in the appendices, or in some additional notes of Tolkien's, to the future of Middle-earth, specifically of the hobbits, hundreds of years after LSR's reign. He, as you may remember, designates the Shire a protected area that men cannot enter. As time passes, these rules are gradually forgotten. The men harass the hobbits, forcing them to become more secretive and reclusive. Their culture suffers. They forget their music and books, their cookery and their stories, and become like animals, hunted by cruel men for sport. The passage ended with the notion that Hobbitkind had not been seen for many years, though there was a chance they could be deep in hiding, or that they had forgotten what they were. It was depressing as fuck. But this discussion took place online in about 2009-2010 and I haven't since been able to find a source. I recall wanting a source and being given one, and I followed the links and confirmed it myself. Reading the depressing passages, although not committing the exact text to memory, was ITRLOTR. Appendix. A separate letter detailing the Hobbit's sad future. Could even have been Chris Tolkien's musings. I honestly don't know. I have wanted to refer back to it in the years since, but as I say, I can't find it. The only line I remember with clarity was hunted by cruel men for sport. The full series of Pirates of Dark Water, a short comedy sketch where a guy dies after calling in sick to work. Con Air was on the TV when detectives found the body, so they assumed he was a massive Nicolas Cage fan, and the dead guy has to watch all his friends judge his love of Nicolas Cage from the afterlife. Then his guardian angel appears in the form God thinks he'd love most. Nicolas Cage from Con Air. I used to watch it all the time years ago, and now can't find it anywhere. Asterisk edit asterisk saltfish. Thanks to the folks below, it's a college humor sketch called The Second Most Embarrassing Way to Die. Unfortunately, all sites that hosted it only have dead links so far. Still digging for it. Asterisk asterisk edit 2 asterisk asterisk solved. Charles found it. Starts around 4:30 https://vimeo.com 10,565,143. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe for more content.